Hello everyone. Greetings from Media Publishing. On 4th of April 2025, our first publication, The Grand Oxford Mystery, a destination thriller by Dr. Manjiri Prabhu, was launched at the Oxford Literary Festival in Oxford, UK. Dr. Manjiri Prabhu holds a doctorate in communication science and is a distinguished figure in the literary realm. She is acclaimed internationally as an award-winning author, a prolific short filmmaker, and the esteemed curator, founder, and director of two renowned international festivals, the Pune International Literary Festival and the International Festival of Spiritual India for Humanity and Wisdom. With a remarkable career spanning over 5 decades, Manjiri has directed over 200 children's TV programs, crafted more than 50 short fiction and travel films, and authored 24 captivating books. Notably, she stands as the first female mystery author from India to gain recognition beyond national borders, pioneering the realm of mystery fiction among the writers in India. On April 4th, 2026, we kicked off celebrations marking 1 year of the Grand Oxford Mystery. We are hosting 4 literary events over this week, featuring Dr. Manjiri Prabhu in conversation with 4 esteemed literary personalities. They will discuss various aspects of the novel and her creative journey. Today, we are excited to present our second session, The Grand Oxford Mystery, the backstory, Oxford as a character. Jeremy Allen, the multifaceted and talented actor, writer, and presenter, will chat with Dr. Prabhu about the novel's intriguing backdrop. Jeremy has an expansive body of theatre work under his belt, both as an actor and playwright, and has been tour guiding in Oxford since year 2000. Jeremy's theatre credits include work with Magic Mirror, Under Construction, Electric Cabaret, and Sam Bradshaw Productions. As a playwright, he has written for Under Construction, Saturday Matinee Theatre, Enchanted Players, and in 2020 produced an audio play, Girl X, for Chipping Norton Theatre Speak as one project. Jeremy recently co-founded his own theatre company, Yonder Cloud Theatre, with fellow writer, performer Lee Woodward. Yonder Cloud is committed to making theatre accessible and exploring mental health issues through drama. Jeremy also hosts a regular podcast, Oxford Lives, in which he interviews a range of fascinating people from around the city about their life and work. I now request Jeremy to take over.
Hello. Well, I've just read this fascinating novel, and this is called The Grand Oxford Mystery, and it's written by a friend. Hello. Well, I've just read this fascinating novel, and this is called The Grand Oxford Mystery, and it's written by a friend of mine, Manjiri Prabhu, who has been billed as the Indian Agatha Christie. I think she certainly lives up to the claim with this. Manjiri writes destination thrillers. I think this is the 5th or 6th one, where the city of destination plays a big role in the mystery and provides clues to the investigator as he goes around collecting stuff together, piecing it all together. So Oxford plays a huge part in the story, obviously, and I'm connected to this in many ways. Firstly, I've met Manjiri through a friend, but also at the Oxford Literary Festival, and I'm also an Oxford tour guide, so I kind of know about the subject matter, and I did help Manjiri in the research. Spent a day looking around, looking for clues and looking for ideas, and me imparting whatever knowledge I have, and hopefully, well, I know that she found that useful because there's quite a few familiar scenes, so it kind of worked for me on 2 levels. I mean, it's a real page turner. It's a great detective novel. There's a real sense of mystery. There's also a sort of deep philosophical side and lots of stuff about being an artist, which I got a lot of inspiration out of that. About being how artists see the world differently. So that it kind of worked on another level. And then the third level is just my love of Oxford, my knowledge of Oxford, and just all those familiar landmarks really struck a chord. So without any further ado,
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Jeremy.
I can stop. Yes. I've plugged it enough. I can put it down now.
Yes, yes. Hi. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm so glad you liked the book, and I'm such a pleasure being here and chatting with you just now on the book.
Yes, well, some very familiar, right from the off, some very familiar focus points and touchstones there. So I think maybe we should talk about destination thrillers. What's the premise behind that, the concept? Because this is a running theme of yours, isn't it? This is the basic premise. It's a destination thriller. So it's a subgenre, really, of the murder mystery.
That's right. Yeah, so basically, I've always been really fond of traveling. It's like I feel traveling is oxygen for me. And of course, writing is my passion. And I thought, it's time to combine the two. But honestly, there's a saying, someone once said that I'd love to see the world twice, once through my eyes and twice, the second time through yours. And what I want to do is I want the reader to see the world twice, once through their eyes and the second time through mine. So I'm actually reintroducing the world through my eyes, through fiction, through all kinds of destination thrillers, and I'm reintroducing the world to my readers. Honestly, that's really the goal.
Yeah, the thing about that is that, and somebody doesn't live in Oxford and comes to it fresh. There's a fresh set of eyes, so it makes you as somebody who's lived here for 20 years. And it's familiar because basically it's what I do for a living. I'm seeing it afresh. I'm seeing it in a new way. And actually, some of that stuff has actually informed my tour guiding. I've had to correct a few things, actually. So you've obviously done your homework there. So it's helped me to see things in a new light. One example I can think of is the old gateway in the Western Library, which dates to 1602 as part of a country estate burned down. I had no idea. I thought it was part of the original 1930s building, but obviously it looks a lot. I just thought they made it look old, but no, it genuinely is from 1602. So I didn't know that. There's a few instances, oh my God, I better rewrite my notes. So it was useful. But it's easy to learn things when you're being entertained as well. So if there's a really gripping story, then things go in a lot easier, almost without you noticing it. So
yes.
But sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say about your research process, because it wasn't just me. How did you conduct your research for this particular novel?
Yeah. So basically for this novel, I mean, before I met you and you took me on a tour, what I did was I used to walk from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening, experiencing Oxford at the academic level, at the spiritual level, at a religious level, at a writer's level, because there are so many writers that emerged from Oxford, the Oxford soil. And for me, what was important about Oxford is that it's not just a town with history and science and with all these museums who offer so much for a mystery author. It was more about experiencing Oxford like an insider. So a reader, who is from India or from any part of the world would experience Oxford like an insider through my book. And my research was all about finding, elements of that could be used like in a mystery novel, finding architectural quirks, which are not commonly known, and incorporate them into the novel. For example, the Pitts River Museum, I found it so fascinating. It was like the entire atmosphere there was so thrilling itself. And there I found this silver flask, which is supposed to hold a witch in it. And I found that itself very, very fascinating. And
that was another thing I didn't know about.
So there you are.
Go check that one out.
I'm a writer researcher, so I can go around and snoop around and find these things. But finding such things and then putting them into a relevant logical plot is the fun part of researching for a book like that. And I think that's how it works for me. Whichever place I go to, I'm trying to find things which are not very well known, but at the same time are a part of the tradition, culture, and lifestyle of the people there. So it's very interesting, actually.
I mean, you use the word mysterious, and I think Oxford is a mysterious way, and a lot of that feeds into the architecture. There's a lot of very arcane or occult or just confusing imagery in the architecture itself.
Yes.
And I think it can be quite alienating to people, but I think on the other hand, it can be quite intriguing. And so I guess if you've got a place that's fundamentally mysterious, all these coats of arms and symbols, and
Yes.
strange quotes, and also the gargoyles and the grotesques,
Yes.
some very weird stuff there. Then if it's in its very identity a mysterious place, then it's going to lend itself to a mystery novel, isn't it? So
Yes.
it almost
Yes.
feels
Of
like the
course.
perfect choice.
Yes, and especially I'll give you another example. The Divinity Hall. I think people know it like a place where the Harry Potter film was filmed, and Freeze library, above it. And these are all well-known, established places that everyone knows about. But what I found very interesting about the Divinity Hall was, of course, the fan vaulted roof.
Yeah.
With the bosses. I think there are about 455 bosses or something like that with initials on it. And for me, the Divinity Hall was became less important. What became more important were the bosses there, because that was where the clue could be hidden. It's all obviously up there. The initials are up there, and everybody uses the Divinity Hall as a backdrop. I wanted to use the ceiling as a part of my mystery. So there are certain things that just kind of come to you when you are moving around the place, and like you said, the mysterious elements shine out when you're looking at it with the eye from the eye of a mystery writer. I think more than a normal writer.
And also, you mentioned the spiritual aspect of it as
Yes.
well, which I think is quite
Yes.
interesting because Oxford grew out of the church, and it originally was a series of friaries, priories, monasteries.
Yeah.
The university church was over 1,000 years. A few churches over 1,000 years old. So
Yeah.
really, in its initiation, it was a place to train members of the priesthood. It just gradually evolved and became more and more secular, although still has some very strong links to the Church of England.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting because there's always
Yeah.
something in the very identity of it, which lends
Yeah.
its sort of theological aspect to it. I mean,
That's
even
right.
the Vaults Cafe, where we ate,
Yes.
and which is in a
Yes.
very early chapter. I mean, that's in a church itself, isn't it? So it's the whole
Yes.
vibe is sort of cloistered in this kind of religious and writing as well, literature. Because I always say to
Yes.
people when they say, what is Oxford? What's Oxford famous for? And I say, writers, priests, and politicians. And you've got two of
That's
those.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get two of those.
Yeah.
So it feels like you've got the essence of Oxford in all its different, or sort of, because I was talking on my podcast about parallel Oxfords.
So I've tried to bring in the theological angle into it by talking about the cathedral in Christchurch, and that plays a big role in the book too, especially when it comes to Paul, who's like the writer's childhood. So I have tried to bring in the spiritual angle, the academic angle, the scientific angle. I've tried to bring in a 360 degrees Oxford into the book without turning it into a travelogue as such. So I hope I'm successful.
Once you've got all the ideas there, how do you then thread it into a narrative? Is that seems to be like the hard work to me?
It is. I believe it is, because I say always that the plot for a destination thriller isn't born outside the destination. It's born inside the destination. And it is born while I'm doing the research. So it's while I'm looking at all these things and the figures, like you mentioned, the mysterious figures that are there also, like the gargoyles and all. And also in the Divinity Hall, the ceiling has a fox and a man, looking from top. And all these figures are actually adding to the plot of the story. And adding to the atmosphere of the novel. And it's when I'm studying it and while I'm working around it that the plot really builds in my head. And obviously, every destination will have its own unique features and characters and and culture and history. And I think therein lies the secret of a destination thriller, in what makes it different, one destination thriller different from the other, because it's based so much in the soil of that city or town or country. And so, yes, it's a very tough, I think it's tough. It's a big challenge for me, because I lay out all these complicated, the paraphernalia, the elements and the features of a town in front of me. And I then tell myself, now put this all together in a logical, a thrilling and exciting page turner plot. And yes, it's difficult, but it's great fun. And somehow or the other, I thank the muse that it happens. And I think the spirit of the city also helps me to do it, I think.
Yeah. And obviously, you then think, well, and I'm guilty of this as well, it's you want to wear your research quite light. I mean, it's a bit different for you because it is actually important to get across you know, you want to put the clues across. So I guess you do have to be a bit specific, but you don't want to show your research too much. You've got to make it into a story, and you've got to find a way where it doesn't feel like it's just thrown in there. You know, this big chunk of research.
Absolutely. Yeah,
you have done all this research. I want to show off there.
Exactly. You have to be brutal about it. You have to be brutal. I've got these thousands of pictures and pages of research, and I need to do a lot of elimination, you know, and just bring out the core parts of what I really want into the book. And it's very tempting, you know, it's very tempting that, I've been here and I love this place, and how can I put this in? And you're so tempted, but you really have to be very brutal with your own, you know, editing, and just stick to the plot and make sure that the plot is very essential to the destination, and the destination elements are all featured very logically into the plot. So it's a really a very, very complex puzzle that I set myself, and I try to do my best in solving it.
I think the word I was looking for was shoehorned. You know, when you shoehorn because it's got if it's coming up in dialogue, for instance, it's got to appear natural, and it's got to be in the vernacular of the character. So they can't suddenly start speaking like a textbook or a history book.
Exactly. So or a travelogue. That's something I don't want to do.
We should talk about the protagonist, Ray Parker, though. Tell us a bit about him.
Yes, so Ray. So this is Ray's fifth adventure, and he was. So I'd written two. I had created two female detectives before Ray, and I decided that I wanted to now go into the mind of a male detective, and it was a very kind of it was a very how should I say, a deciding factor. I mean, I wanted to do destination thrillers, but who was I going to make my main detective? And I had this vision of, you know, I usually get visions and characters in my visions and dreams and all, and I saw this man standing by the edge of a lake, you know, with his back to me, in a ponytail and leather jacket, and he's looking out, you know, across at a mountain. And I saw this whole picture, and I realized then that this character is being born to me right now. And of course, it had to be a detective, because the first book that happened was in Austria, and Ray was standing exactly there, you know, by the lake and everything. So Ray grew on me, you know, as I started developing him. And he's basically had to be an international personality, because I wanted these thrillers to be based around Europe and the UK, and not in India. So so his name is Ray. His mother's French, his father's Indian, and he's a classical singer. That's why his name Ray is Do Re Mi Re, and Sa Re Ga Ma in Indian, you know, musical, which is Ray, second note Ray. So that's how he's Ray. And although he's French, half French, he's very rooted in Indian spirituality, and he works with energies. And like Hercule Poirot has his gray cells, I think Ray Parker has his energies and vibrations that he can, you know, look at and figure out whether a person is a good person or a bad person. And he gets these images of a, you know, image. When he looks at a person, he gets images in his head, you know, and so he trusts his instinct, and he's a very deep, sensitive person, which is why, of course, you know, along the way he needs a grieving partner, and I'm not going to say who right now, but along the way he realizes, because he's had this heartbreak in an earlier book, and he needs to come out of it. And so basically he's a very human person, but at the same time there is a touch of a very, how should I call it, he's an absolutely he's hero material. I feel he's hero material, but at the same time he's very grounded and very compassionate, and I think therein lies his strength.
Well, he's very sensitive as well, isn't he? As you were saying that, I was thinking, I have heard good detectives, they work on hunches, but you can't take that hunch to court. You've got to do you've got to find the evidence to substantiate the hunch. But Ray seems to take one step further. It almost feels like some kind of spiritual connect. That word again. He's almost like he's. I don't want to say psychic, but he gets a lot of unsettling feelings, or something is leading him somewhere, and he just picks up on these little things in the environment, doesn't he? There's something, and it's almost like a super. If that's his superpower, it's like a super instinct, isn't it? Which leads him.
Yeah, but it's logical as well. I mean, it's not magical.
No, it's not magic.
So,
It's not magical.
yeah,
It's just
yes,
he gets a little
yeah, he gets
touch of
those
something.
because he's always communicating with the spirit of the place. For example, there's a scene in which, when he's very disturbed, he's talking to the spirit of Oxford and asking for help. Because he's not ashamed to ask for help. He knows his flaws, and he knows his weaknesses, and he knows that asking for help, is okay. And it's only after that the other little character comes into his life after he's asked for help. So you're leading the readers along the way, because for Ray right now, in this book especially, it's not just solving a mystery. It's a story where his mother's involved in the whole plot of the thing, and I think that makes him even more sensitive and conscious of where he's going and what he's doing. So yeah.
Well, I think the fact, I don't want to give too much away, but the fact that his mother's involved in it kind of ups the stakes, doesn't it, as well? Because you've got a personal investment there.
Yes.
And it makes you extra protective, and I guess extra driven solving the mystery.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And his co-investigator, co-protagonist, Emma. Can you tell us a bit about her?
Well, so Emma, I can safely say that Emma kind of came from you.
I was wondering. She's a tour guide, but she's also a writer who hasn't been published.
Exactly, yes. And I was just thinking, well, yeah, this is where I met Jeremy, and he's showing me around. And who better than a tourist guide who wants to be an author to solve a mystery, because he already knows a lot about the place, and Ray doesn't know anything about Oxford, and he needs somebody who will guide him along. And that's how Emma. She had to be a woman, of course, because in every book Ray does have a female protagonist who helps him, but
source. So
yeah,
but yes, I've been made into a woman.
you did inspire that character, because it seemed for me and so relevant, in solving the mystery.
Yeah, fantastic. The Vaults Cafe. While I'm thinking of it, it's been closed now.
Is it?
Yeah, they're turning it into something called a social work, because it was only ever on a lease, so the leasehold was 20 years. And they wanted to turn it. It was contested. The guy running it, Will Pouget, he did go to court, but he lost in the end, because ultimately it's owned by the church.
Oh no, how sad!
It is sad, because it's a lovely spot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing else in that square we can sit in and eat tea, and
it was lovely, and it's the perfect view of the Radcliffe camera. I think everybody there will go there and take pictures from there. Yeah, so sad. That's too bad.
It is sad. So I don't know. They said it's a social hub, so I presume it's some kind of community centre, but it's not going to be.
Okay.
Probably a need for it, but it's a shame, isn't it?
But I'm not going to change that in my book. I'm leaving it.
No, don't change that in the book at all. No, it's too late now. Yeah. Anyway, so they go on this journey together, but there's some other characters as well. So Paul is the and again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but Paul plays a pivotal part, even though we don't really meet him.
Yeah,
but he's a novelist as well, isn't he?
Yeah. No, so Paul, we can talk a little bit about him. I mean, Paul is a character. Well, of course, for the listeners, Paul is the one who enlists Emma's aid to write the first chapter of his perfect mystery novella. And when she goes back again, he's committed suicide. But then that's just the beginning. He's left these 7 chapters across the city, which Ray is supposed to find, to avoid a major catastrophe at the Sheldonian Theatre. But the thing about Paul is that, the character, I think he's almost like a writer that I channeled myself, and the workings of his mind and his psyche and his writer's mind and his, what should I say, his a kind of the hurt he's carrying in his heart at not being recognized as a writer is constantly at conflict with his goal to create the perfect mystery novel. And so he's always in this balancing act between fiction and reality, and he's trying to suck Ray into his fiction, so Ray's reality merges with Paul's fiction. And so there's this novel within a novel, which I feel which I kind of enjoyed writing. So I was writing 2 novels at a time in the book. But Paul definitely is a representative of many writers across the world who probably are frustrated with writing, not finding their readers and not finding the success that they're hoping for. And I think it's a very in that sense, a very down-to-earth character and a very real character. Yeah. Although, of course, the story takes
I was worried for a minute Paul was based on it.
No. Paul is just an amalgamation of a lot of writers I've met, and I realized that
people have you.
Well, yeah, there are so many writers out there. I run a lit fest, so I do meet thousands of writers. So yes, I mean, I know that this is the feeling inside every person, probably to write the perfect book at, anger, frustration, and not being recognized enough. Yeah. There's so many things that go into in a writer's mind. And I think I just wanted to add that element into his story and his mystery.
And of course, Paul's dog plays a big part as well, Archie.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So Archie is my favorite character. A poor dog. The poor dog is grieving, and to bring him into, but of course he's not just a prop. He's got a big role to play in the book, and definitely a role to play in Ray's life. So, like I said, Ray had a heartbreak in one of the earlier books, and I thought it was time to bring in a character who would pull Ray back from that heartbreak, but it couldn't be another woman. Because his heartbreak was real. So what else could help? But this happened in a very funny manner. The hotel, the place where I was staying, the moment I entered the hotel, there was the picture of a dog on the wall in a Sherlock Holmes cap. And who frames a dog picture in a hotel room? A dog with a Sherlock Holmes cap.
Right. I mean,
that was exactly very, it was a message from the universe for me. And then there was a Kafka museum which was happening at the Western Library around the same time, and the first book I picked up from there was Investigations of a Dog. So I realized that I was getting these messages that I had to bring in a dog at this point in Ray's life. I'm a dog lover, and I know that dogs can really help you in life in bringing you back from the edge and brink of frustration and heartbreak or whatever. They're the only ones who can do it. And so it just made sense to have a dog in Ray's life right now. But of course, a dog wouldn't just walk in. He had to play a role. And that's how Archie
he
has
does play
entered the book.
It's always there as a sort of healing mechanism for Ray, but he's also...
Exactly, yes.
He's quite... he sniffs out the clues quite literally as well, so he's an asset in the investigation.
He's an asset, yeah. He's there for a reason. Rather, everything that happens in the book is not without reason. Every character has a reason to be there. So yeah, I mean, it's a mystery novel, so I guess you can't play with coincidences.
No, I can't deal with the coincidences, but it's fantastic. So you're coming up for it's a year now since it was published, isn't it?
Yes. And yes, it's a year. It's been a year.
Wow. Are you coming back to the Oxford Literary Festival this year?
Not this year, no. But who knows, maybe next year if I have a new book out by then. I've already been there twice, two consecutive years, so I thought I'll take a break. But but I still want to celebrate, that launch in India. So that's the reason why we're doing this. And let's see where the book is headed now from here.
Okay, well, I'll be there. So I'll be giving it a few plugs.
Okay, all right.
What I noticed when you go into the Blackwell Marquee, the speakers from previous year, the guest authors, their books are very much on display, very much at the forefront.
Okay.
Of the because they wouldn't fill the marquee if they just had the current crop of writers who are there. So previous sort of guests are featured quite heavily in the displays. So I hope you get a few sales there. I'm sure you will.
I hope so.
So what are you working on now?
No, right now I'm working on another spiritual mystery. I mean, this time it's a real spiritual mystery. I can't reveal much, but yes, very much there. And I've also got another book in the works, which is one of my writers, Sonia Samat, solves cases with the help of astrology, Indian Vedic astrology with horoscopes. So I've already got 2 books out. It's been a while. The 3rd book has to now come out. And so I'll be working on that. And side by side, I'm waiting for a destination to call out to me. And I don't know which one that will be. And that will be the 6th book in the series.
So have you not thought of doing one in India? Is there a reason you haven't?
No, the one that will be in India will be probably the last one, because Ray has to make up with his dad. He doesn't get along with his dad. So the India one would probably have more than just, there'll be more emotional, baggage that would have to be kind of sorted and tended to, and lots of healing that will happen around there. So India would happen at that time, I think. In the meanwhile, it's this course across the world.
Is there more? There's more of an emotional journey for Ray then. There's more healing.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
I'm glad to hear
so it'll
that.
be probably be one of the last books. But before that, Ray has a lot to do, and I'm hoping that he'll be going to more countries and solving more mysteries and helping more people.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
does it do you go to places specifically to research? I know Oxford's a bit different because you came here for the literary festival, but do you actually go to places specifically to research, or do you just happen to be on holiday and think this would work for a novel? This would be a great destination.
No, 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 no. So destinations have to call out to me. Okay, it's not a holiday thing at all. In fact, I very rarely go on holidays and then decide to base a book there. It has to be so. I keep feel saying that destinations literally call out to me through messages, invitations, something that a video I've seen, a striking feature that's literally pulling me into the destination. Something like that has to really happen, and then I start working on it and planning, and then realize that this is where I'm going next. So, but it's never a story born outside. It's not like, oh, Greece is good for a story, let me go and base a book there. It won't
Right.
happen that way. It'll have to be somebody from Greece who will reach out to me and say, hey, why don't you come here? Or something like that.
I mean, that sounds like an exercise in trust, though. You just trust that something will call out to you. Because I don't
Yes,
suppose it's
that's
a
right.
guarantee, but you trust the process that at some
Yes,
point
that's right.
you'll get that
Yeah, because
calling.
I do believe that these destinations have a role in the larger picture of literature, and that is of building bridges between cultures. And so I call myself a converse cultural diplomat. Because if I'm a diplomat, I'm just a diplomat, that means I'm representing my country. But when I'm a converse cultural diplomat, I'm actually representing another country, a country which is not mine. And hence my responsibility is more, And so if you've noticed, there's nothing dark about the country, about its history, or about anything in the book, or any of my destination thrillers. My goal is to not talk about the underbellies, the politics, or anything that leaves a bitter taste in someone's mouth. I mean, I want people to fall in love with places, whether it's my country or somebody else's country. The goal is to show the readers that the world is beautiful out there, and the people are lovely out there, and mysteries might happen. But I mean, for example, crime might happen, but there are a lot more people who would help solve it, and build harmony and peace. So all these destination thrillers are actually talking about peace and love and coexistence, and through culture, of course. So that is the goal, and it's not just something really bad is happening in some part of the world, and I want to go and extract that and use it to my advantage. That is not the intention at all. The intention is to literally spread love, peace, into the minds of the readers.
That's wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a fascinating thriller, I have to say, and as I say, it works on many levels. Spiritual, artistically inspiring, great page turner. I'm an authority in Oxford, so you've passed the blue litmus test, as they say.
Thank you. That is really very nice of you to say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think just as a mystery thriller, even if you never went to Oxford, and I hope people do. I hope this book sells Oxford. But even if you don't, I just think it is a great thriller. It's a great mystery, fine tradition, Agatha Christie, all of that, Miss Marple. Dorothy Elsers, all those great crime writing. It follows on in that tradition, but you've also got your own little spin with the destination side of it. So I think that's very clever, actually, because it is an oversubscribed market. I think we can conclude, and I'd say even Oxford is an oversubscribed. There's almost like a subgenre, Oxford mystery or Oxford crime. I think even that it stands out because of the destination and the clues being in the buildings and in places. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm really kind of you to do this.
That's no problem. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah. So good luck with your new book, and I hope I'll see you in Oxford at the literary festival again in the next couple of years.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yes, yeah. I would love to be back. Just want to be back there. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Take care.
You too.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.